Thank you so, so much. Oh, okay. We're going to have a time of discussions and Q&As anyway, towards the ending. So we can go through what you found, how you found it after. But now I'm going to welcome our next speaker, Keeley. Okay, so this is just a bit about Keeley. Keeley Stephenson is an award-winning young leader, an author, a poet, an impactful story sharer, and the founder of Care Leaver Legacy. She tends to use her negative experiences as fuel to shape her purpose and influence the individuals around her. An example of this can be seen through her own story. As a newborn baby, she was left in a supermarket by her mother, who had schizophrenia, and as a result of that was placed in foster care. However, when her mother was deemed fit to look after her, she then went back into care, but unfortunately, no, hold on. Let me get this right. Keeley, apologies. Hold on. When her mother was deemed fit to look after her, she then went back into her care, but unfortunately suffered severe abuse day in, day out. Keeley's life was a fight for survival. However, life began getting better when she was placed within her 10th foster placement. One of Keeley's greatest passions is to inspire and uplift the next generation to leave a legacy behind and achieve their absolute best. She usually does this in the form of workshops, public speaking, one-to-one mentoring, and creating captivating content for the world to engage with. I love that. Overall, Keeley has a heart for the lost, the broken, and the ones that deem themselves as unfixable. She believes that no one should allow their past to define them, and that with the right support put in place, everyone can conquer the world collectively. So, without further ado, I want to welcome Keeley Stephenson.
Wow, wow, wow. Pamela really set the bar high. I just want to say thank you so much for everything that you mentioned, everything that you covered from, even giving the diagram of the brain and really going into detail. I think a lot of people don't really understand how trauma really does affect the body. I don't know if you guys know, but there's a really good book out there called The Body Keeps a Score. And it's a really good one. And I just felt like, yeah, you touched a lot that's really in the book. And Lisa, thank you so much for giving me this platform. I really, really appreciate it. Sorry, guys, if you're wondering why my camera is still off, my screen is fuzzy. I will show my face. Hold on. I'm here, I really am. But my screen's going fuzzy, so I'm going to have to treat it like a podcast, okay? Because literally everything is just, yeah, sorry. I think mine was a bit shorter, but here goes anyway. So my message for you guys today is, how do you find hope in a hopeless situation? How do you find hope in a hopeless situation? Now, how many of you have been in a hopeless situation? Pamela touched on a lot of things such as depression, anxiety. When you're in these kind of situations, you can often think and feel hopeless. You can't really see a way out. I'll give you an example. As well as the trauma that I experienced in my childhood, my grandma passed away in January, and literally from that experience alone, oh my gosh, my body went in utter shock. I thought that I was healed, but when my grandma died, hey, that literally released a lot. So yeah, Pamela was really speaking when she mentioned everything about the brain and hypervigilance and stuff. I can really, really relate to that. You see, I'm here to speak to the ones today that are real about their situations and struggles. So let's get ready to lay ourselves bare today and release ourselves from the need to appear perfect. I feel as though, in society, especially in the church, we like to put on this facade. I'm well by the grace of God. I mean, that's beautiful. I mean, it's great that you're well by the grace of God. It's great that he's absolutely keeping you. That's beautiful. But I think we have to come to a place where we are real, real about our struggles, real about our experiences. If we are not real, how do we expect people to relate to us? How do we expect people to relate to us? When you're walking on the street and you see someone that's an alcoholic or a drug user or a prostitute or, someone that's feeling low and you're just walking past them like you're high and mighty, they feel as though you can't relate to them. It's good. We need to get onto a human level where we feel humans, because people are going through real issues every single day. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. So what do you do when there's nothing left? Nobody to turn to, no family, no trustable friends in your life, when you feel empty inside, you feel fragile, you feel as though you are literally on your last legs, what do? I guess let's look at what our good brother Job did in the Bible. I'm literally just going to be reading a summary, as Job really did go through a lot. It didn't touch in the Bible whether or not he sought therapy or kind of got help, but you know, he really did go through a lot. And I really do feel that Job's experiences can relate to a lot of what we go through and are yet to go through. Yeah. So here goes. As you know, Job was a very rich and successful man. He was unimaginably wealthy and greatly respected and admired in society for being a good man. Job had a large family, 7 sons and 3 daughters, and he owned extensive flocks of livestock. He was blameless and upright, always careful to avoid sinning. Now, one day, Satan visited God in heaven. God boasted to Satan about Job's goodness, and Satan challenged God, claiming that Job was only good because God had given him many blessings. Satan said that if God gave him permission to punish Job, he would certainly turn away from God and curse him. Now, God granted Satan permission to torment Job to test Satan's claim, but he told Satan that he was not allowed to physically harm Job in the process. In just one day, though, Job received 4 messages, each giving him awful news. He learned that all of his livestock, servants, and 10 children had died. Imagine that, due to invaders and natural disasters. Now, crushed by the news, Job tore his clothes and shaved his head in mourning, but still he honored and blessed God in his prayers. How many of you guys can do that? When you've just lost all your children, everything, can you still bless God? When I lost my grandma this year, I was still able to bless God only because my grandma wasn't a well lady. But it really did take a toll on me to the point where I didn't actually feel as though I was actually going to be revived. And it was hard for me to actually find that hope again. But I had really good friends at the time, that could really kind of get me back on my feet, really. I don't think she's present at this moment, but blessing, she really helped me. I know you guys know her well here. She really did help me, so God bless her. Now, moving on more to the story, Satan returned to heaven again to request permission to test Job further. God granted Satan another chance at testing Job and allowed that Satan could cause physical suffering to Job, but must not take away his life. So Satan afflicted Job with agonizing, weeping skin sores all over his body. Now, seeing how mercilessly he suffered, even Job's wife encouraged him to curse God and to give up and die. But Job refused to turn his back on God and instead entered a struggle to accept his difficulties. So after hearing about Job's adversities, I have a few questions for you all. How many of you here would still be able to praise God having lost everything? Would you question God? Would you doubt God? Would your faith disappear? Or would you patiently wait for the hand of adversity to loosen its grip from upon you? What would you do? What would you do? So now I have given you all a biblical example of our very strong brother Job taking adversity on the chin. Wow, this guy is a soldier, I gotta be honest. I believe that it's only right to speak about my personal struggles also. So as Lisa rightfully said, when I was a newborn baby, my mother left me in a supermarket and never came back for me due to her schizophrenia. Now, when I went back into my mother's care, I was unfortunately sexually abused by her and went through multiple streams of abuse. You know, she'll do things like try and set the house on fire with me in it, chase me up the stairs with knives. She would do horrible things such as beat me with a cross and tell me that I had a devil in me. Imagine, guys, up to maybe a few years ago, I still believed that I was evil because of my mother's words. This is how you know words are powerful, you know? I know that it's in my innate character not to be evil. You know, God didn't make me like that by God's grace. But by her abusing me continuously with a cross, beating me, a wooden cross, saying that I had a devil in me, I actually started to believe it. So much so that I was actually scared of attending churches when I was young. You know, that's how you can see that the devil really tried it from a young age, you know, because he could see the potential call. She even tried to sell me to men on the streets, you know, asking them, what price would you take her for? My life, guys, was literally a fight for survival. I didn't even know if I would live to see the next day sometimes. It was only by God's grace, you know. We would sleep on the streets because she thought someone was in our house trying to get us. The thing is, when you have something like psychosis, schizophrenia, you have a lot of hallucinations. And so, you know, you think anything is happening. I would see live abuse and real invested drug addicts taking hard drugs at times such as 3 a.m. in the morning. This all happened from the delicate ages of 5 to 10 years old, by the way. And I had no one to talk to or no one to turn to. I had no father. With my mom's condition, she isolated us from everyone. So there was literally no one. It was just me and her. And I felt like the adult in many cases. As a result of all of this, guys, I then moved to foster care and found myself living in 10 different houses because no one wanted me. Nobody wanted me. You know, I took all of the trauma and the abuse with me. So I started to portray that onto other people. As they say, hurt people. And boy, did I hurt people, which is why no foster carer wanted me, you know? So how have I dealt with all of that? How did I maneuver through that hard period in my life, through those hard rocks? How did I get through it? The truth is, I haven't really, and I'm still dealing with it every day. You know, I'm seeking therapy at the moment and it's really, really helping. But the truth is, every day is a battle. Being reminded on days like Father's Day and Mother's Day, you know, it just brings up so much because it brings up the fact that you have an absence in your life. And you know what? The truth is, trauma doesn't just disappear straight away. There is often a baggage that it leaves. You know, you're left with smells, you're left with memories, you're left with that PTSD. When I travel in certain parts of London sometimes, I get really triggered, especially Trafalgar Square, because I used to literally sleep on benches there and go to school the next day. And as much as God is the ultimate healer, you have to make the decision to work with God so that he can get the work done in you. Now I'm realizing that you have to avail yourself and say, God, I can't do this. It's you. You're the only one that can help me. I need to be free. I need to be ridded of all of this baggage, you know? And one thing to also note is this: when you have gone through adverse trauma, healing becomes more of a journey rather than a destination. I don't think you just arrive with healing. Healing is a journey rather than a destination. You can't just get there. I'm healed. Signed, sealed, and delivered. It's yours. Yes, I believe it. I receive it. But there's work that needs to be done. You know, there's work that needs to be done. You need to get the therapy. You need to get the help. You need to start talking. You can no longer bottle this stuff up. You need to take active steps in being kind to yourself every single day, because there's going to be days where you're going to be triggered. There's going to be days where you're going to be reminded about specific stuff. You know, for example, a boss at work may talk to you in a specific tone. And that might trigger something for you because, you know, I don't know, your mom could have spoke to you like that, you know, when you was much younger. And that could make you feel really, really low. So that's why I say healing becomes more of a journey rather than a destination, you know? So in the midst of your pain, what is God saying? Now, trying to work out what God is saying to you in your pain is a crucial one, as you can often feel hopeless, helpless, and too broken to even figure out what is God saying during this time. But here's what I believe God is saying. He's saying, my precious son and daughter, your trauma is not a life sentence. So cry out to me. Oftentimes when you go through trauma, it feels as though you're serving a prison sentence for something you didn't even commit. But God is there. God is there. And I decree and declare today and on your continuous journey that you will be free in Jesus' name, and that you can really begin your healing journey. Because the truth is, guys, you deserve freedom. Thank you so much, guys.
Ooh. Ooh. Wow. Wow. Thank you, Keeley. Thank you for your transparency. Amen, Keeley. Awesome says, God bless you. This was a wake-up call. Thank you. Nah, this was too deep. Keeley, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And this is what I love, the transparency and allowing people to know that, you know, we all have a story. We didn't just come out of the womb and we're perfect. You know, we all have things that we're dealing with. Like, I admire your story because I can imagine how hard it is for you when you see parents and their children, you see families together, you know, because obviously your background is not like that. So it's being reminded of that every day. How do you, not that I'm asking you this now, but it's like you think of things like, how am I actually going to get through this? And, you know, I missed out on having this. And for you to be able to be on your journey, like, yeah, Sarah said, no, this was too deep. Love your bravery, sis. The fact that you have had this happen to you and you're sharing it with other people, I mean, I don't even know what to say, to be fair, but thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. I don't know if anyone has any questions, but we have some questions that we want to ask the speakers. So as we're asking them, please also feel free to put your comments and stuff in. Yeah, I don't have much words. Joanne, over to you. I don't know.
Thank you so much, Pamela and Keeley, for sharing so openly, transparently.
Yeah.
For all of us, greatly edifying and challenging. Like, I can confirm that all the comments in the section below has also spoken to me. Yeah. So we're going to open up the floor for anyone to ask some questions. If you want to message me privately in the chat, please feel free to do that. Or if you want to message openly to everyone, that would also be great. I'll give a couple of minutes and